Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFL lately, you know that the Giants are at a real crossroads. The season so far has been, let's say, less than ideal. They're sitting at an 0-3 record, and with such a brutal upcoming schedule, facing the Chargers, then Eagles twice, 49ers and Packers in the next 8 games, it's shaping up to be a tough, perhaps even disastrous, season. And that's where things start to get really interesting, especially for the coaching situation. Because if this trend continues, if the Giants keep losing and fall deeper into the standings, it's almost inevitable that head coach Brian Daboll might be on his way out before the season even ends. And that opens the door for some serious shakeups, with a lot of potential candidates emerging from the NFL's coaching landscape. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Who could possibly replace Daboll? There are names like Bill Belichick, Cliff Kingsbury, Brian Flores, and others that have been thrown around. But one name that's been gaining more and more traction, surprisingly, is Jon Gruden. Yes, you heard that right. Jon Gruden, the former head coach of the Raiders, who's been out of the NFL for a while now, but whose name is starting to pop up in conversations about the Giants' future. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense, if you think about it. Gruden's connection to the game, his experience, and especially his recent involvement in the NFL draft scene with his QB school, might make him a viable candidate if the Giants decide to go in a different direction. Let's back up a little and analyze the broader picture. Since Tom Coughlin's departure, the Giants have struggled to find stability at the head coaching position. Ben McAdoo, for instance, who was promoted from offensive coordinator, had a brief stint with a 13-15 record and just one playoff appearance, which ended badly. Pat Shurmur, another name in the mix, had a less successful run with a 10-23 record, and Joe Judge, who came from the Patriots as a special teams coordinator and wide receivers coach, never really demonstrated the ability to lead a team consistently. So, when Brian Daboll was hired, hopes were high that the Giants finally found a coach who could bring stability and success, especially given his impressive tenure with the Buffalo Bills as offensive coordinator. But as we all can see, things aren't unfolding as planned so far. Here's where Jon Gruden enters the conversation. Now, I know many NFL fans might dismiss him because of his recent history and the fact that he's been out of the league for a couple of years. But there are some intriguing reasons to consider him as a potential fit. First, his long coaching tenure, especially with the Raiders, gave him a reputation for being a fiery, passionate leader who could galvanize a team. Second, and perhaps most interestingly, his recent involvement in the NFL draft scene, particularly his QB school for 2025 prospects, has shown that he's still very much engaged with developing young talent. And that's a big deal because, for the Giants, who are still in a phase of rebuilding and trying to develop their young quarterback Jackson Dart, having a coach with Gruden's experience and his ability to work closely with quarterbacks could be a real game changer. Dart, as many of you know, has shown flashes of brilliance and promise, and if Gruden is brought in, he could be instrumental in shaping Dart into a top-tier NFL quarterback. Their chemistry during the QB school was evident, and it's that kind of rapport that could make Gruden an appealing choice if the Giants are looking for someone who can maximize their young talent and bring a competitive edge back to the team. Of course, there are other names on the table, like Mike McCarthy, who's known for his experience and Super Bowl victory with the Packers, and Brian Flores, who's been building a reputation for turning teams around with strong defensive schemes. But what makes Gruden stand out is his offensive mindset, his aggressive style of play, and his history of getting results under pressure. The Giants, with their talented yet inconsistent roster, could benefit from a coach who isn't afraid to shake things up and push the right buttons to get the best out of their players. Now, let's talk a little more about the current state of the team. The Giants have a solid defensive line, which has been a bright spot in an otherwise rocky season. Their defense has shown resilience, and the ability to disrupt opposing quarterbacks, which is crucial in today's NFL where pass rushes are everything. On the offensive side, Jackson Dart's development is key. He's a young quarterback with potential, and if guided properly, he could become the franchise guy. Gruden's track record with quarterbacks, think of his time with Derek Carr, suggests he could be the perfect mentor for Dart, helping him refine his decision-making, improve his pocket presence, and develop that leadership quality that's so vital at the position. But beyond strategy and X's and O's, there's also the aspect of culture. The Giants need someone who can instill confidence, motivate players, and create a winning mentality. Gruden, despite his controversial moments and the abrupt end to his previous coaching career, has always been known as a fiery leader who demands excellence. If he's able to channel that passion into the Giants' locker room, it could be exactly what the team needs to turn their season around and set a foundation for future success. Looking ahead, the NFL landscape is always changing, and teams are constantly searching for that perfect combination of experience, innovation, and leadership. The Giants, with their young core and defensive strength, are in a unique position to make a bold move if they decide to go with Gruden or another seasoned veteran. The upcoming games will be critical. If they continue to struggle, expect the coaching carousel to spin faster than ever. And with that, the potential for a coaching change is becoming more and more likely, especially if the team's management believes that a fresh, aggressive approach is what's needed to salvage this season and build towards the future. And now, New York Giants fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Jon Gruden could be the right guy to lead the Giants out of this rough patch? Or do you believe they should stick with Daboll or look elsewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of the Giants. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest New York Giants news. This team is always evolving, always surprising us, and I can't wait to see what's next for the Giants. Thanks for sticking around, and let's keep the passion alive, because after all, being a Giants fan is about resilience, hope, and never giving up.